You're live. We're live.
Right
Okay.
on.
Welcome to episode 13 of Flooded Cinema. I think we're live. Yes, we're live. Episode 13, Flooded Cinema. I'm joined by Jay at Primate
How's it
Acolytes.
going?
Say hello. Yes.
How's it going, everyone out there?
Yeah. The man who was MIA for about 6 weeks.
That was so much fun. 8 weeks.
8 weeks. That was
Eight
epic.
weeks
I
straight
thought it, I thought it was
offline.
something I did because I like came back to Twitter and then like 2 days later you disappear and I'm like, oh.
That was so much fun. I, I had a great time.
Yeah, it was
Man,
yeah, a good bit of
that's a top 10 bit for sure.
yeah, that was excellent. Did you sorry, I don't know how much you want to reveal your secrets, but did you like just think of that impulsively or like a week before you're like, oh, this will be a funny thing to do?
Probably the day of, like I was going to explain, hey, I'm going to be
Uh
gone, but it would be so much funnier to make people think I got arrested.
it was definitely epic. It was the greatest, definitely one of the greatest hits of the year so far that I can think of in terms of author
That's
Twitter
high praise
content. Yeah.
indeed.
So we're here today to talk about two movies, Bad Lieutenant and Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Oh, yeah.
Um, Now I know you had quite a lot of familiarity with Mr. Blart, but I'm curious. Had you
I
heard of
am.
Bad Lieutenant before?
I hadn't, no. I hadn't heard of that one. I am extensively familiar with the stylings of Kevin James playing
Mm.
Paul Blart.
And the interesting thing is, upon reflection, there are more than one sort of connection between these two films.
Hmm.
Well, there's probably a lot more, but the uh, the obvious one is that it's about sort of security cops, sort of kind of
Right.
thing, similar realm.
The
But
immediate.
also, Bad Lieutenant is kind of I mean, I don't know if I'd call it a Catholic film, but there's certainly Catholic themes to it, or
Themes, for
Catholic
sure.
aesthetics, yeah. And Kevin James is actually a tradcath.
Is that a fact?
That is a fact. I'm not sure if you know who Father Ripperger is or Ripperger.
I can't say I do.
Anyway. He's some like Catholic priest guy that I used to,
Right.
back when I was discerning things. I used to listen to him on YouTube. Anyway, there's like photos of uh Kevin James like helping serve the mass with this like. I'll have to send you some later, but yeah, he's like
I
legit
am looking
a
forward to it.
tradcath. He's a full on
Yeah,
tradcath. Like
I'm so happy to hear that.
so, yeah, that's pretty amazing. Little connection there. So we've got the Tradcath, and then we have the your typical lapsed Catholic in Bad
Hmm.
Lieutenant.
Majorly lapsed.
I think let's start with Bad Lieutenant.
I think so.
I think that's a good way. We'll have our meat and veggies before we get to the dessert.
The
Um,
dessert that is Paul Blart.
yeah, which is quite appropriate. Quite appropriate.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Um, Bad Lieutenant. Now,
Hmm.
this has been on my radar for a while, this movie, for whatever reason. I think I just like, Harvey Keitel. I like 90s movies and like crime stuff,
Hmm.
so it was sort of like, oh,
Like
this looks.
gritty movies.
And yeah, I watched this, and this was a lot darker than I thought it was going to be. This is a lot more messed up than I thought it was. I thought
Yeah.
I was expecting like, The Departed or Pulp Fiction type
Yeah, that
levels,
exactly.
and it just goes like, it just keeps getting more and more depraved.
Hmm. I wouldn't call it noir, but it's gritty for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's the best word I can think of.
yeah. Um,
Yeah, it's like what I try to compare it to, like Taxi Driver and yeah, The Departed, but both of those aren't as like down and low as this.
yeah, which is
Man.
surprising to say that, yeah, this is grimier than Taxi Driver,
Hmm.
but it honestly, I can't. This is, yeah, you feel like you need to have a shower after watching this movie.
Man,
I mean,
for
the ending is sort of redemptive, so you feel a little bit better
yeah, no, I
leaving
like
it.
the ending a lot.
Yeah, the last 20 minutes or so are amazing.
Yeah, I
Most
was
of
captivated by that.
yeah, yeah, and I guess we'll just get into sort of the plot. Again, this movie's more of a character study than
Hmm.
really. It's like there's not really twists and turns in the plot or anything like that. But it's basically we're
Yeah, like there's
following.
the crime is like the
Yeah.
loose motivation, but it doesn't follow that every sequence.
Mm. So we're following. What's even his character's name?
I don't think he is named. I think he's just the lieutenant.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I thought. So we've got Harvey Keitel, and I think I mean this is his best performance, and his
Mm.
performance I think I couldn't praise enough, and it's he goes from like this extremely aggressive, like assertive guy, like takes control of it, like these situations, and then you also see him at like the most out of control of himself, and he's
Hmm.
just
The lowest point.
yeah, um, and he is amazing in this movie. It's
Yeah, that was
it's
a really good performance.
yeah. I think yeah, really that's what makes the film is his performance to a certain degree. I mean,
Well, it's gotta,
yeah,
yeah.
because it's
And
just
it's
him
him
on the
in
screen.
every scene.
Yeah, and yeah, it's a full on role, and yeah, you see every side of this character for sure.
Yeah.
But basically, he's a New York cop, and he's a drug addict, and he's a gambling addict, and he's an alcoholic, and he's a sex pest, basically, or like I don't know.
That's putting it lightly,
Yeah,
man.
putting it lightly. And he's there's sort of two major threads going on in terms of narrative. The first being there's the World Series in baseball, or I'm assuming that's what it is. I don't know enough how
Yeah,
baseball
yeah, it
works.
is.
The World
I think it's the
Series.
playoffs for the World Series.
Ah, okay.
It's deciding which teams
Okay.
go up.
And so it's the LA Dodgers versus the New York Mets or whatever.
Yeah.
And so the Mets are down three zip in
Best of 7.
yeah, in a best of seven thing, and so he keeps gambling, assuming the Mets are gonna lose, and they keep not losing,
Yeah.
which ties in quite well thematically. I thought was really good,
Right. Yeah.
and then the other thread is the actual sort of semi cop investigation thing, which
Hmm.
is there's a rape of a Catholic nun, and the nun doesn't want to actually cooperate with the police, which yeah was an interesting twist on
Yeah,
the
which
thing. Yeah,
he can't believe.
yeah,
He just doesn't understand that.
yeah. And I think I think if they toned down, like maybe if they deleted, there's the one scene in particular with the two girls, which if you deleted that and you toned down
Hmm.
certain and you toned down the the rape scene.
Wait, which scene with the two
Yeah.
girls?
Well, the ones with when they're in the car.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And the
The
earlier
rape.
in the movie.
Yeah, yeah. If you tone down certain elements here and there, this would be an easy recommend film. But
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah, I would say if you like American Psycho and you find that you can tolerate that's like you're pretty desensitized.
Extremely online,
Yeah. Then you'll appreciate this
lively.
film. But anyway, what did you think of it? What are your thoughts? I've sort of just given a very incoherent overall bird's eye view of the movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It was just fascinating. Like his character, irredeemable through most of the movie. Like you can't stand him. He's disgusting to watch. This utter sleazebag, corrupt New York lieutenant.
Yeah,
Uh, but you keep watching the movie, keep following him through all of his like daily activities, the drugs, the sex, the
yeah,
depravity, like you said. And then the ending is just cathartic. Absolutely, I
yes,
think that's the best word for it.
yes,
Before the podcast, we were comparing it to Uncut Gems in
yes,
major connections and themes. I gotta imagine that Uncut Gems was partially inspired by this, or they took
yeah,
inspiration from it somehow.
yeah,
That was the
um,
main connection I made.
yeah, um, yeah. And really, this movie is just sort of going from scenes of him just being a cop, and that's clearly like high out of his mind on coke and like
Oh
heroin,
yeah.
to scenes of him
Like,
just like smoking crack and like
yeah.
smoking like there's the
Like
scene.
shooting up.
Yeah, the scene where he's freebasing heroin with that redhead chick,
Yeah.
and she's like
Yeah.
lighting the aluminium for him.
For real.
Yeah. Um, I think the thing about this movie is, yeah, it's kind of hard to discuss. I don't know, because I feel like at a certain point you just keep repeating things that happen in it. But
Hmm.
I mean, I think
Just in
thematically
different ways.
we can talk about the themes a little, so, or the
Yeah.
motifs. So I think the big thing is like, there's this notion of, yeah, redemption is basically the whole,
Forgiveness,
yeah,
redemption. Yeah.
is the whole point of the movie, and we have
Hmm.
um, the two sort of threads of this is, number one, it's the fact that the Mets are 3-0 in this series of 7 games.
When he starts betting. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's sort of similar to his own life. Like, he's already gone so
Mm.
far. Is it even possible that he could turn things around?
Mm. Hmm.
Is the idea. And he
I
keeps
like that
betting,
connection
against the Mets coming back. And it's
every
sort of,
time.
the fact that it's the New York, and it's sort of, I guess that's sort of obviously, more reflective of him. It's just sort of the
Hmm.
appropriate teams to pick for it, I suppose.
Hmm.
But yeah, he constantly keeps betting against the Mets, and in the same way, he keeps betting against himself, kind of like he's just given
Right.
up on himself.
Like, how can he mess it up at this point?
Yeah.
He's almost
Um,
there. And then the stakes keep doubling each time.
yeah. And when he gets to the 120K,
Yeah.
and he like goes to meet the like the in between bookie guy, and
Hmm.
he's just like, he's so drunk, he's so
Yeah,
fucked
out
up.
of his mind.
And that's one thing about the movie is like, he already, like, at the beginning of the movie, he's already so messed up, and then he just gets more
Yeah.
and more, like, every scene he's just drunk and he's
Like, none
all
of this is
high.
new to him.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
love there's like bits where he's just like walking around with his gun out.
Yeah. Just so paranoid going
Yeah.
that scene going down the like apartment stairs.
Yes, and he just has his gun out. And I love, another really funny moment is when the Mets win again and he shoots his radio in his car.
Yeah.
Um,
Like thrown back to Elvis,
yeah, yeah.
the TV.
And I love also, like, pretty much every scene where he's supposed to be doing cop work, he's just doing the most like corrupt stuff so
Right.
blatantly. Like,
Like the convenience store.
yeah. And I love the bit where it's like a drug shootout thing, and he's like investigating the car, and he sees like the big bag of coke, and
Yeah.
he just
and,
like puts it in his jacket, and it just falls out.
and tells them to take the rest for evidence.
And he's sort of like, he is just, he's almost this, if it wasn't so tragic, it would be just like a Sigma male, like Giga Chad
Oh
type
yeah.
thing a lot of the time.
He is you gotta respect the hustle.
Yeah.
It's that passive income.
Yeah. Um, wow, just checking the chat. We've got a few people saying hello here. We've got UR, we've got Catacomb, XYZ in there. We've got OK.
Awesome.
We've got a few people watching, which is good.
Sweet.
Uh, Sorry to interrupt the
Famous.
flow
This is my
there.
big break.
This is your big break? I don't know.
That's right. I'll make it in the showbiz.
Getting voice mogged right now. I don't know. Sneed. We want a Sneed shout out. Oh, Sneed.
Sneed.
Alright, we've ruined the flow of that conversation. So what were we up
Ruin.
to? And the other thread of, like, thematic thread is the fact that the nun forgives the boys that raped her. Or, like,
Immediately.
The young, yeah. And Harvey Keitel cannot understand that. And, like,
No, not at all.
he says to her, I'll go get revenge for you. I'll go shoot, like, go kill them.
Yeah,
And like he thinks
that's
that's
what
how he can redeem
he.
himself is by killing
Hmm.
these guys.
Is saying that if they go through the legal system, won't receive any meaningful punishment. He can take care of justice
Yeah.
himself, and that's the opposite of what she is thinking. That's the opposite of her mindset.
Mm. And she says, and that, like, this is the most powerful scene in the movie, is the
Mhm.
church, that church, like, later church scene, and it's
Oh yeah.
so, like, full on. Like, he's just talking to this nun, and it's like, because in his mind, yeah, he wants to redeem himself, and he thinks, oh, if
Hmm.
I kill these guys, that's a good thing. That's like me redeeming
Right.
myself. But it's actually just him, like, further indulging his passions,
Mm.
like his
Hmm.
his anger, like, and it's not actually redemptive. And that's sort of, I
No.
think, the like, this is probably one of the best anti-revenge. This is like a revenge movie, sort of, but without, because, like, the thing I find annoying about so many revenge movies is, like, the theme is the same, like, oh, you shouldn't take revenge. But this
Right.
actually this
Like it's just
actually does it
writ
in a
straight in
more,
your
yeah.
face.
But this is
Well, no,
much more
actually, no.
subtle.
This one straight says that she forgives them.
Yeah,
She knows what they did. She knows that it's awful, but she forgives them anyway. But
yeah.
that's even more powerful than
Mm,
like some implication or when it's worked into the story.
mm,
I don't know, like not blatantly, but
mm,
I think it was done well here.
yeah. Um, I'm just trying to think what other things from the earlier parts of the film. I mean, it's just like it's shot really well. Like, all the bits where it's in his car, it's, I don't know, it's just so,
Yeah,
because it's just so trained on his face, and you just see he's like, his mind is just going like a million miles an hour, and he's like,
it really reminded me of the scenes at near the end of Goodfellas where Henry's
yes,
in the
yeah,
car checking for the chopper above his head, just so paranoid.
yeah,
He's aware that everything's coming down around him.
yeah. So imagine
That was like
90 minutes of that,
right there.
basically.
For real. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, both movies are like an hour and a half almost to the minute.
yeah, and that's the one thing, as well, I really wanted to praise about Bad Lieutenant, is it's so pacey. You're like, there's no wasted time at all.
No.
Um, because I,
Like every scene
yeah,
is establishing him as such an awful character
yeah,
so that it's all worth it at the end.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I really liked how, uh, like, you wouldn't call this movie indulgent necessarily. Like, maybe it's depraved,
Pretty far.
but it doesn't feel like, it's not like,
It's for a purpose.
yeah, because it doesn't feel
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head. Like, you would call, the violence or the depravity, say, in like a, like a Tarantino film or something like that.
Hmm.
It's indulgent, or
That pushes the line there,
or
yeah.
or like, even actually, like, thinking of like the previous episode, I discussed it, like a Takashi Miike film, and like the extremeness in like
Hmm.
these sort of Japanese movies.
Oh yeah.
It's deliberately to shock. It's deliberately
Mhm.
to be like, ooh, look at this audience, and like,
Yeah.
it is meant to
It's
sort of shock you,
intense.
but in
Hmm.
this, but it's not like the director is trolling you.
No, it has a purpose
Yeah, and so,
beyond what
yeah,
we were talking
exactly,
about.
yeah. Um, but yeah, it's just ridiculous the amount of drugs he does
Oh
in this
man.
movie.
Yeah.
This is easily the most drug taking I've ever seen in a movie that I can think of off the top of my head.
I can't come up with any other examples.
And yeah, it's a really. I'm trying to, actually, I haven't even looked at my notes yet. That's how much there is to say about this without even thinking about it.
Hmm.
Um,
That's right. We haven't even started
I
talking
know,
yet.
I know. I was gonna say, Keitel is pretty swole in that one scene,
Right, he is. I didn't expect it, but
yeah, the one scene where he's like
the
drunk,
one
and
scene, yeah.
and he's like naked and crying, and that's like,
That was weird.
yeah, and I think that's, where you can commend Keitel's, like, he's not there to make himself look good,
No, it's commitment,
Yeah.
commitment to the role.
Um, what else have I got written here? Yeah, I just have Sigma male cop written down. um, yeah, what else do you have to say about sort of let's say, the first two-thirds of the film, and then we can sort of
Yeah.
get into the ending a bit more?
Like going into the movie, I wasn't exactly entirely sure what the like term character study meant. Like I couldn't think of any movies to compare it to. Yeah,
Yeah.
just following him at every scene. Uh,
Mm.
there's no like inner monologue. There is no narration.
Yes.
It's just his actions, his expressions, his reactions to what's happening around him. Like him becoming more and more desperate in
Yes.
the both of the plot lines, the money and the nun.
Yeah.
Uh, just working himself deeper into that hole was
Mm.
really entertaining to watch.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention another funny scene is he's on the phone, like, placing a bet, and he sees like someone stealing stuff out of the car, and he just doesn't care. And it's just, I just love, yeah, the all of the like scenes where he's, yeah, supposed to be being a cop. He's just, yeah, doing
Mm,
like the
yeah,
exact opposite of what he should be doing. Um,
yeah. I mean, actually, in the convenience store scene, that's an awful job. Like the guy, he lets the guys get away. He takes the stolen money for himself. The
yeah,
store owner gets hauled down to the station.
yeah,
And
yeah.
he's just stealing stuff from the store.
Yeah, he just grabs food off the
Yeah,
shelf and stuff as well.
like the kid, the guy's daughter's watching him, and then it cuts away.
Yeah. Uh, but I suppose, yeah, I'm trying to think what other. There's also the scene where he gets his like share, and then the other thing is he's like involved in the drug dealing itself. Like he's that
Yeah.
Mexican guy. He's like teamed up with him and like gives him like
Hmm.
stolen stuff from like the evidence room
Yeah.
to sell. Um, and so he meets that guy's mom, and then I don't. What does she even like? I didn't get
I
any
have no idea.
subtitles. Yeah, she's just saying Spanish
No, I
stuff to
watch
him.
movies. I watch movies with subtitles, and it was just said speaking Spanish.
Oh. Yeah, I assumed you weren't supposed to understand what she was saying.
Hmm.
Um,
I didn't bother.
yeah, and then that sort of, I guess, yeah, ties into that sort of Catholic aesthetic thing.
Yep.
Like there's like just behind them, there's that big like, what do you call it? Like blanket, I guess, on the couch, and it's just like
Hmm.
got Jesus's face on it.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
what the term is.
yeah. Um, and I think, yeah, that's sort of one moment where I don't know, maybe he's thinking, maybe I should do something different to what I'm doing, kind of.
Yeah.
It's sort of the
Because what
seeds being
was the
planted.
context? What was the context earlier in the movie where he refers to himself as being Catholic, and like saying, "No, I'm not gonna die. I'm
Yeah,
already
yeah.
saved."
I can't remember, yeah, exactly what he says, but
Mhm.
and he goes, is it his daughter's first communion? He goes and
Might have
sees.
been.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, he just sort of he's very much your cultural Catholic.
Mhm. Yeah, like very much lapsed, and then the investigation involving the nun really brings him back into the church, reminds him of all of that. Partly
Mm.
because it's the crime scene, he has to be there.
Yeah, yeah,
And he keeps going back.
yeah. Um, and there's that one bit where he basically, um, when they first begin the investigation, and he's with the other
Hmm.
cops, like he says that sort of blasphemous stuff about the church,
Yeah.
and nuns, because it's sort of like it's sort of like that thing where you insult something to try and distance yourself from it emotionally, I guess.
Mm. Hmm.
It's sort of that,
That's a
and it's
good
sort of
connection.
also to just show where, yeah, he's at. Like he doesn't want to have to, because when he has to actually go and be in the church, it's like actually reminding him of like how far he's fallen, basically.
Yeah, he's way more toned down.
Yeah. And
For like in the movie, there's remarkably little violence. Like there's uh he only shoots his
yeah,
gun once or twice
twice. Yeah, yeah.
in the
Once,
convenience store and
and then
then
his
in
radio.
his car.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And then obviously the ending.
the ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it is mostly just drugs and sort of sexual stuff in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which
To
is
an
interesting.
extreme extent.
Yeah. Um, yes, definitely. Um, yeah, I think there's also the time where he like basically he just passes out from being too drunk and he like falls asleep in the church.
In the church
Yeah,
on
like
the step.
cradling the statue of
Yeah.
Mary. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Um,
when it was still a crime scene. They hadn't
yeah.
fixed up anything yet.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and
Yeah, yeah. Then he wakes up like on the back of one of the pews, and they're doing the investigation up in
yeah.
front of the church. So someone moved him.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's sort of like unclear how much the other cops know like how messed up he is.
Right.
And
Like
they
they still trusted him enough to take their money for the
yeah,
bets
yeah, that's true.
that starts at the beginning of the movie and then snowballs.
Yeah. So it must be that they just think, oh, he's a bit of a drinker or something like that.
Mm,
Or yeah, who knows? But yeah, they trust him enough to give him like multiple thousands of dollars. So
just yeah, just accept it, saying that's just how he is.
I love how his plan is convince them to all bet for the Mets, but he's gonna bet for the Dodgers, so then he can
Yeah, when
like,
he was making the phone call.
so he can like make extra money off the whole situation, but it
Uh-huh.
ends up putting him more in debt.
Yeah,
Like he's basically
he's
trying to
just so
like,
stubborn
yeah,
about that.
like he basically is trying to rob his friends or like his work
Yeah.
associates. Um, but I guess we can yeah get into the ending now. So
Uh-huh.
he goes. I don't even know necessarily what the lead. Like I think he pretty much he shoots up H and then he goes to the
Yeah,
church the next day.
yeah.
And he meets the nun and
Did you read it? I thought it was the same day. That's how I read it from the movie.
oh, it might have been he went and shot up H like in the
It's not.
morning or
Yeah,
I don't know who
something
knows.
like that.
Basically it's he shoots up H and then the next scene is he goes to the church
Yeah,
and
he's
he's like
stumbling. The
yeah
nun in question is up at the front, kneeling, praying,
yeah
and then he's like, I find it interesting watching his hair throughout the movie. We never see him take a shower. We never see him change
mm,
clothes,
yes
and his hair gets progressively more unkempt. His appearance gets more dirty, messed up,
yeah
following his mental state and everything that's happening to him. The investigation stalling.
yeah
the, we can't overstate the gambling plot points. That
oh
was
yeah
that was really fun to watch. That was entertaining.
oh that was like so
It was
unpleasant
compelling.
the anxiety from it.
Oh yeah, because it's not gonna pay off for him.
Yeah, yeah.
No way.
No way,
He
yeah.
keeps digging himself deeper.
Yeah. Um, and so basically he says to the nun, all right, I'm going to go find these guys and I'm going to kill them. And then she says, I've already forgiven them. And he just cannot
Hmm.
comprehend that. And then he tries to sort of be rational and say, oh, well, they might, go and they might rape and attack other women, other nuns. And then,
They're nuns, yeah,
yeah, and he tries to like appeal to her.
but she doesn't respond at all.
Yeah. And what does she say before she leaves? Anything, or does she just like get up and leave?
I think she just leaves.
So basically, she just gets up and leaves, and then he begins to hallucinate seeing
Hmm.
Christ, basically.
Yeah,
And at first,
standing
he's
there in front
yeah,
of him in the church as he's kneeling on the ground,
yeah,
utterly desperate.
and this is yeah the most like this made my like the hair on the back of my neck stand up. It was
Oh
like
yeah,
so yeah. I don't like to
I don't
say it
even
was
know.
yeah
Uh-huh.
like
I don't even know how
saying
long of a scene it was,
yeah
but it was just
It felt like
captivating.
20 minutes or
This
something.
all one take. Yeah.
And he pretty much he's screaming, he's cursing and
Mm.
blaspheming, and he's
Yeah.
saying like,
Where were you?
yeah, 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 why didn't you help me? Why didn't you make things
Hmm.
easier for me? And blah blah blah. And he was blaming Christ for everything.
Yeah.
And then he sort of
It
begins to,
transitions
yeah,
to him asking for forgiveness and apology.
yeah,
Transitions to him apologizing and then asking for forgiveness.
yeah, and he's just sort of screaming and yeah, and the apparition doesn't say anything at all,
No.
um, and it's just sort of we see him like what has been inside him the whole time is finally sort of given a bit
Him
of air.
takes like
Yeah,
stepping back and taking a look at himself. What's happened to him?
yeah,
The state that he's in, the situation he's in.
yeah, and he's just sort of screaming, "I was too weak, I was too weak," and
Mm-hmm.
he, yeah, he just wants forgiveness, and I think, yeah, he because he doesn't feel like the forgiveness is possible, and that's why, like with the nun, he was so shocked at this idea of her forgiving her attackers.
Yeah, like throughout the whole movie, he's done nothing but take advantage of other people every chance that he gets.
Yeah, um, and so because I guess like I don't know his hatred for those attackers or whatever. It's sort of like the hatred for himself, and he can't see himself getting saved. And this,
And yeah, like how much he depends on solving this case,
yeah,
partly for the money, partly for probably his career.
yeah,
Uh, no, I think mostly for the money. And then I think he becomes personally attached to the case because he
mm,
just can't understand
yeah,
why the nun forgives them.
yeah, and so after he's had this massive breakdown,
Mm-hmm.
he realizes that it wasn't Christ. It was actually a black woman.
Yeah, yeah. He crawls down the aisle
Yeah,
towards Christ, who he sees, uh, and then the figure like opens his arms towards the lieutenant.
mm,
He gets down, kisses Christ's foot, and then he looks up.
yeah,
It's this old black lady
yeah,
holding the chalice from earlier in the movie.
yeah. Um, and then she sort of says, "Oh well, I found the chalice." Because so the attackers, the people who attacked the nun, also stole like the chalice and other bits of gold, whatever
And
from
they
the church.
foreshadowed that way
Yeah.
earlier in the movie too.
Mm.
Like they said, they were talking about if these guys try to pawn off
Yes.
this chalice,
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
get him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so happened in a way.
Yeah. And
That's right. Yeah, they did. They pawned it off. He was like the wife of the pawn shop owner.
yeah. 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 And then she keeps saying it's a sacred thing or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
um.
and that's what. Yeah, then he repeats that also to them
Mm,
once he finds them.
yeah.
Like you desecrated a holy thing.
Yeah. It's a holy thing. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And he then basically he works out where these guys are, and they're in this crackdown, and he goes and confronts them.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like so cooked out of his mind, and he
Oh yeah.
goes and he
Still,
sits, yeah, and he goes and he sits with them on the couch, and they're watching the baseball,
they are.
like
He
tying it all
handcuffs them
together,
together.
and he cuffs them, and
He
then
has
he smokes
he has his
crack at
gun out
them or
the whole
something.
time. He does. It's like, you guys, want to try some of the good stuff, man.
And then like yeah, like one of the guys he gets one of the guys to, it's like a crack bong. I've never even seen.
Pipe or something, yeah.
Yeah, and so shows how innocent I am, I guess. But some weird smoking device that I've never seen
Hmm.
before. He's smoking crack with them, and they're all like smoking crack together. Or is it? Or
Yeah,
who knows
while
what
they're
it is?
watching
Yeah,
the game, while the two of them are handcuffed together,
and he's
while
pointing
he
a
has
gun.
his gun out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and so he then goes and he takes them to like this bus depot, and he tells them to leave the city. And
But yeah, he sticks them in the back of his car, and they're driving around. It's not clear where they're going. Like I assumed he was going to take them to the station or like out of the city and kill them.
mm,
He's talking to them, berating them, pointing the gun at them.
yeah.
The whole ride there, and then yeah, they get out at this bus depot.
And what did he say? There's no way you're not getting on that bus or something like
Mhm.
that. And he gives him his like earnings from the drugs he was
The
selling.
$30,000.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. So
Oh yeah.
he pretty much is signing his. He knows that he's gonna get killed basically
Well, it was
from this
more than the
bookie.
30,000 because he was
Yeah,
banking on the 50 grand for
yeah,
completing the case also. So he forgoes both of that
yes,
and sends them off.
yeah. So yeah, he gives up all this money. He gives up
Hmm.
because he's following through on what the nun basically said about forgiving them.
Yeah, he's not following what he had said before about doing real justice to them. In a way, he is,
Yeah.
but that's not what he had said earlier before. It's the exact opposite of
Mm,
the mindset that he had been operating under.
yeah. Um, and that's another really great scene where he's getting them to get on the bus and he's slapping them. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
I really like how they didn't add like a sound effect for the slap,
Mm-hmm.
which is a subtle thing, but you always notice it in like every movie. They always put
Yeah, like a stock
yeah,
sound effect.
and it's because they made it more real.
Yep.
And yeah, these two guys have like no idea what's going on as well. Um,
Yeah, I don't even remember. I don't think they said where the bus was going, but I
no,
don't
no,
think it
no,
mattered.
no.
Just said that they weren't welcome in this city anymore.
Yeah. Um, and then yeah, this is like his sort of redemption is doing one thing that's not selfish, one thing that's not um, violent
Like,
or
mhm,
angry or fueled by anything other than yeah, just
what the nun had said
yeah,
to him.
yeah. Um, and then pretty much he goes out and he sits in his car and
He's like
then
walking past the buses, crying.
yeah,
And yeah, he's driving in his car, and yeah,
and then yeah, he gets shot basically.
he does.
Yeah, because he
I
owes the
assume
bookie.
by the
Yeah,
debt collector. Yeah.
yeah, because he's in 120k debt at that point. So
Yeah. They know there's no way he's paying.
yeah, so I think yeah, they just killed him. Obviously, it's like an example.
Yep.
Because if I was a
And then a crowd forms
yeah,
around the car, and then roll credits.
yeah, I think yeah, it's a really powerful ending. Really good.
Oh yeah,
I don't
I
even
liked
know
it.
how long that ending is. If it's 20 minutes or
It felt like it.
yeah,
I wasn't looking at the clock at all.
yeah, um,
Man, like I had been reminded of Uncut Gems through the whole movie. I really like Uncut Gems. I
yeah,
saw
yeah,
it
yeah,
a while ago. Really enjoyed it. Like the themes, the deeper in debt with the gambling, trying one less bet to pull him out of the hole.
yeah,
Managing other things in his life. There's a
yeah, yeah,
similar thing, like
yeah,
kids, wife, that family conflict, and then the almost exact same ending that absolutely,
yeah,
I said it before, cathartic. That's just the best word for it.
yeah, yeah.
Everything that the movie worked up to, gone in an instant. And
Mm.
like, forgive me, spoilers for Uncut Gems if you haven't seen it.
Yeah,
You
just
should go see it.
just
Skip
close your
forward.
ears. Close your ears.
Yeah. In that one, his bet does pay off, and then
Yes.
he dies.
Yes. Well, I'll have to have you on, then we can discuss Uncut Gems at some point then.
I would love to, yeah.
Because we could break down the themes of Uncut Gems right now, but we will save it. We'll save it.
If they had a third movie. Ooh. Unplanned improvisation.
No, I'd want to rewatch it
But
first. But anyways,
yeah,
yeah. But Bad Lieutenant,
yeah, his bet doesn't pay off, and he dies anyway.
yeah. And yeah, it's a really, really good ending.
Yeah.
The scene in the church is amazing, and then it's just yeah, it's absurd the amount of drugs he does.
Oh, yeah, every other scene.
Yeah,
And
literally every other scene. Yeah,
I wouldn't say that it's a sad ending.
no,
Uh,
no.
but I wouldn't say it's happy either. It's unending.
Mm,
It's like Simpsons quote, it's the best we're gonna get.
It's. I mean, it is similar to Uncut. It's just like he's like a rabid dog, basically.
Yeah,
So
off the chain the whole movie.
yeah, it's almost like him just being killed like that at the end. It's just yeah, it
Yep.
is.
You saw it coming.
I wouldn't even
I
call
saw
it
it
bitter.
coming.
Yeah, yeah. There's no way he's surviving the movie.
No
Like,
way.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't call it like bittersweet. It's just so much as it's like how you'd feel about putting down a sick cow or sick animal,
Yeah.
basically.
But I really like that he brings himself under control right at the end.
Yes.
And then he gets shot.
Yeah. Well, it's
I would say that
almost.
he's redeemed in the end. Like, that's
Mm,
not my call to make, but I think as
yeah.
a character, that was a really, really big turning point.
Yeah, and I think I just love how even like in his like redemption thing at the end, he's still smoking the crack.
Oh yeah, and like beating the two guys around the place.
Yeah, but I think if anything, he probably needed to smoke some crack to like come up from
Hmm.
the heroin. I'm assuming was like his logic.
It's the bad lieutenant way.
Mm-hmm. So, um, yeah, I'll say it's an amazing movie,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's 90 minutes. One of the
Mhm.
best performances ever, really. It's like probably in one of my top. I don't know. His performance is so good. It's definitely Harvey Keitel's best performance. It's well
Right.
shot. It's
Oh
just the
yeah.
grimiest New York movie. Um,
Rarely are shots like in full light.
yes.
It's
Um,
just in the same grimy suit the whole time.
yeah. Um, but I will just say it is. Yeah, it's a full-on movie.
Oh, for real, yeah.
Uh,
Not a first date movie, not a watch with your parents.
no, definitely not a first date movie. uh, um, yeah, this is sort of, I guess you could put this on with the boys.
For sure.
If you're all into like movies and you like, if you're happy watching movies that have a lot of, full on content,
Gratuitous.
yeah, gratuitous content.
Like to the line of gratuitous. Depravity.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's only redeemed insofar as it has a purpose. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
none of it feels like it's there to be like titillating
Hmm.
because it's definitely not.
Shocking, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Uh,
it's gross.
yeah.
And it's meant to be. You're meant to, I guess, feel sorry for him, also kind of resent him. Like he's
Yeah. And I think
awful
that's
and unapologetic.
yeah, and that's the power of Harvey Keitel's performance is that
Yeah.
no matter what he's sort of doing, he's just makes it so him still extremely likable. So
Yeah, he's charismatic.
yeah. All right. Well, is there anything else you have to say about Bad Lieutenant?
Nothing comes to mind. I think we covered it pretty well.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think so. All right. Now moving on to the crowning jewel of the episode, Paul Blart,
Like,
Mall Cop.
Bad Lieutenant was good. Paul Blart
Mm,
is unarguably
yeah.
the better movie of the two.
Yeah. It's time for the masterpiece.
It's a masterpiece. Now we're getting into the real movie.
Now it's time for the real esoteric themes.
Yeah.
Now, would you believe me if I told you I had never seen Paul Blart before?
I would believe you. Like, it was a big meme movie, but I have no idea how well it did in the box office. I have no
Actually,
idea.
that was one thing I wanted to
Not-
quickly. One thing I forgot to mention about Bad Lieutenant
Yeah.
was, first of all, yeah, we didn't do our biographical details. 1992 came out. Abel Ferreira is the director. So he's a good director,
Mm.
but he always does stuff that's like, yeah, full on kind of things.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, $1 million budget.
Okay.
How good does it look for $1 million? It's crazy.
It's pretty good. I guess that that explains the lack of costume change throughout the movie. They just- they couldn't buy him another suit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then how much did it make? If you
Two
know.
2 million, 2 million.
Okay.
But I
Sweet.
think it was more like an art housey type.
Yeah.
So it would have been, would have made back a lot of money on their DVDs and whatnot. And did you know it was banned in Ireland?
Why Ireland? I didn't know.
Maybe it was the
I
poor
don't think
depiction
they
of
have.
the Irish people or something.
It's just realistic. I mean, they couldn't handle the banter.
Yeah, I don't know. Banned in
Huh.
Ireland.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'll be.
Um, I think the version that we probably both watched would have been the NC-17 version as well,
Most likely.
because there was an R version which cut out the scene with the two girls. I think.
Which one? Again, which one?
The one with the two teenage girls.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I think that
Yeah.
was cut, and a couple other things. Anyway, Paul Blart,
Mhm. Paul Blart.
2009,
Yep.
$26 million budget,
Uh-huh.
183 million.
Yes. That's why they made. What's
The second one,
what was the? Yeah, I'm looking that up right now. What's the ratio? Paul Blart 2 budget was 30 to 40 million, and it made 108 million. Why haven't with a 5% approval rating on
Damn.
Tomatoes? So where's Paul Blart 3? I posted about it on Twitter. There was a 6-year gap between Paul Blart 1, Paul Blart 2, 2009, 2015. We are almost overdue for a Paul Blart 3. Kevin James, where is it? Where's the movie?
That's what we're all.
I'm waiting.
Wait, I'm seeing an article right here. Why we're just googling things? This podcast. Just
We are
Googling.
giving the people an answer why there is no Paul Blart 3.
Why Paul Blart 3 never happened.
Don't say that. There's still a chance.
Screen
Don't give up
rants.
yet.
I'm sure it might happen.
I really hope so. I've been waiting.
Yeah, Paul
What are
Blart.
you finding?
Anyway, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Mhm.
Directed by.
Because it's gonna come out. Yeah. Who
Yeah,
cares?
exactly. We can discuss it then. Steve
Uh-huh.
Carr, just a no-name, like a, for hire director type guy, I think.
Yeah.
Oh wait, he did Daddy Daycare. Now that's a classic.
Ooh.
That's a certified hood classic, Daddy Daycare. He also did movie 43, apparently.
I haven't seen that one.
Or he did a segment of it. Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Anyway, Paul Blart,
Paul Blart. Where do we
take it
even
away.
start?
You take it away.
Where did we
This
begin?
is your wheelhouse.
So this movie, I saw, I think 4 times in high school. I saw Paul Blart 2 on opening night in 2015 with my best buddy, who also shared the Blart mania with me. We saw that one 4 times. It's a good movie. I enjoy Paul Blart as a character. The memes are hilarious. I have
Mhm.
60-something edits of the Paul Blart cover. Like, I posted them on Twitter.
Yeah.
People have seen it. People know. It's no secret.
Yes.
It's a funny movie. It's a funny name. It's funny to say.
Paul Blart. Yeah.
I don't exactly know why. Like, I picked that to be my personality trait through parts of high school.
Paul Blart.
But I did, and I'm glad I. Oh, it sounds so much worse when I say it out loud. Man,
Um.
it's a good movie.
Yeah. I think after doing this show, I've had to watch like a few. I've watched a few different kids movies and like
Mhm.
whatnot, and I would put this in the top 50%. I would say this
Oh yeah,
is uh, completely coherent plot, structurally makes sense.
it's engaging. Yeah,
Has I would say the weakest part of the movie is the first 20 minutes or so,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
once like the Die Hard plot like kicks in, it's
It
like
picks up.
it's yeah, really enjoyable.
I can't
Um,
believe that Bruce Willis ripped off this movie
mm,
for Die Hard.
I
That
know,
was
I
shame.
know,
Shame on you, Bruce.
I know. Um,
Because it's
uh,
almost beat for beat.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, um, so I don't know. Where do we even begin with the plot?
Leaves this loser, mall cop. No, he isn't. He's really confident in his job. He does it to the best of his abilities. He's trying to
Yeah, he's not even a
switch
loser.
jobs, become. No, he no, he has a daughter. He
Oh
still lives
yeah,
with his mom, but she's really nice.
he has a daughter from
Uh,
a woman that used him to get a green card.
that was the
Canonically.
funniest. Like your mom, she had something special, and it's him, this like 250-pound lady on a donkey. I've forgotten about. There's a lot of scenes I forgot about, and I'm so glad I was reminded of. But he's trying to become a state trooper instead of
Yes.
a mall security officer.
Mm.
But he's obese, has hypoglycemia, uh, where he falls asleep if he doesn't uh, keep himself sustained with sugar, which is
Mm.
it is a plot point in both movies.
Oh, in the second Paul Blart that comes back again.
I can't talk about spoilers for that one. Yeah, bring me on for Uncut Gems and
Yeah,
Paul
yeah.
Blart 2.
Oh,
Paul Blart 2 is the better movie of the two. However,
really?
Paul Blart 1 is still excellent. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I guess do they remove all the like the sort of semi-boring stuff, and it's just like all
Yeah.
the goofy. Oh, okay,
Great
okay.
action.
Oh, oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What have I got written here? Oh yeah, his mustache is really good. I like that
Hmm.
he is likable and that he's a nice guy, and
Oh yeah.
I think just
Really kind.
coming off yeah, Bad Lieutenant, it was nice.
Exactly.
It was
He
nice.
takes his job seriously, goes above and beyond.
Mm. And I really liked they did, structurally. I would say they could have maybe tried and got into the action just a little bit quicker.
A little bit sooner.
But structurally, yeah, it's really good. Like you've got things that happen in the beginning that pay off later.
Yeah.
The plot is completely coherent. All the themes tie together. All the ideas tie together.
Yeah, if they
Um,
mention something, they usually call back to it later in the movie.
yeah, and I'm just because I think the last time, what was the last sort of like kid movie I had to watch was like a Goofy movie, and that sucked.
Mm. Oh,
'Cause
you don't like it.
no, well, because that was structurally there was no the structure was horrible for that movie, and
I
so
haven't seen
it
it
just
in
made it
years and years.
anyway. We won't bring that up again.
No, we're talking about
Blart.
Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Um, the love interest girl is fine, perfectly competent.
He has crazy
Uh,
big eyes.
yeah, yeah.
Like, man.
Um, I like the bully guy, the pen salesman guy. He's funny.
Yeah, who's in a lower position than Paul Blart is.
Yeah, like
Like a
mall
pen
cop,
salesman at the mall.
pen salesman.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, all the characters are kind of funny. I love the
Mhm.
Indian guy.
Bahood. I completely forgot about him until I was watching
Really?
and she has crazy sexy feet.
Oh
I had
yeah,
to take a second to process what I heard from a movie made in 2009.
I know.
Like, I'm sure that was meant to be funny as part of his character, but it wasn't in the ironic way it's said today, like this skinny
Yes.
Indian guy on.
Yes. And
I paused it and just started laughing.
that was my one thing I was sort of disappointed. I was hoping he would be more.
Right.
I assumed that this is my other minor complaint. Is like, yeah, I feel like they had too many of these like cop characters on the outside of the mall,
Hmm.
and it's sort of like
Yeah.
it's it
Like I forgot
it was kind of confusing. Like,
who his supervisor and stuff was.
why have the supervisor, the cop,
And the
and
coworker.
then also the SWAT guy,
Yeah.
and it's like,
I
yeah,
couldn't keep him straight.
it was too much. Like, I think it
Mm.
sort of diffused the tension or whatever. Or no, I don't know, maybe not the tension is, but it sort of made things a bit too fatty. They could have trimmed that a bit and
If
improved.
there's a complaint for Paul Blart, Mall Cop, it's that there are too many characters in this one scene.
Yeah, basically. Other than that, perfect movie.
Oh, 10 out of 10.
Um, and what else have we got? Oh, I love I love the his first date, like when it shows him going to work. So we got
Uh-huh.
Mr. Blue Sky, some ELO, Mr. Blue Sky
Yeah.
playing, and he takes the Segway to work, and he like runs over a
Right,
dog.
he runs over a dog. This cute little, like a Yorkshire Terrier.
But I just
Oh
loved,
man.
yeah, like I cracked up when he took the Segway to to the way, like the garage door
Yeah.
opens, it's just him coming out on the Segway.
Yeah, Paul Blart, a man unlucky in love, unlucky in
mm,
career.
mm.
I would argue that this is also a movie about redemption
Um, in a different sort of way, I suppose.
in a different sort of way.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and so we get all the sort of the pieces come together. Like, okay, he's a cop. He's that feel when no GF basically. Oh, I love the bit
Oh
where
yeah.
it's like, what is it? If I don't have a girlfriend by November, sign me up for online dating or something. And it's like,
Yeah.
Dad, that was last year.
Yeah. His daughter's a funny character.
Yeah, yeah, I liked the daughter.
Yeah.
And so pretty much he's got this crush on a girl that works at the mall.
Selling wigs out of a kiosk.
Yeah, and they seem to be hitting it off, but then they. I love that this is how the plot like unfolds. So he
Hmm.
goes to this. They're having like a party at the American Joe's. Is that like an actual place?
I've never heard of it. I don't know if they made it up for the movie, if I've just never
Uh,
heard of one.
and it's like a TGIF type, you know, one of these. I don't know
Yeah,
what you guys
restaurant,
call them.
bar.
Yeah, 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 family bar type thing.
Yeah,
Um, and so he's there.
in
He's
the
having a
mall.
nice time, and then he like out of nowhere, like there's nothing that like sets this up or anything. They are just like having a nacho eating contest.
Him and this obese black guy.
Yeah,
Like,
and
Paul Blart, Kevin James isn't light in the movie. This other guy's up another step.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Kevin James would be considered skinny nowadays, basically, for this role.
Average at least,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, but he's eating these nachos, but they're too spicy for him. The peppers are too
There's
spicy.
jalapenos.
So he skulls lemonade, and he's like, "Huh,
Takes
this."
a picture from another table, yeah.
Yeah, it's like this lemonade's weird or whatever, and it's like it was a
He says it's
margarita.
really good.
Yeah, and then it's a margarita, and so he doesn't drink.
And the point he states he doesn't drink.
Yeah, I don't drink.
Yeah.
And basically, yeah, he gets way too drunk, and
Mm-mm.
and he makes a fool of himself and embarrasses himself in front of his
More
love
than he
interest.
already has in the movie.
Yeah. And then ruins his chances with this girl, basically. And
More or less.
yeah, and that's a pretty funny scene, just him drunk. And I love when he's sat next to that other guy who's also like been
At the
drinking,
bar.
and he just keeps
Yeah.
like touching his face and like touching his mouth.
His nose.
And like that guy just like doesn't care. That's like the funniest
Yeah.
part about it. It's not like he's annoying him. It's just like two drunk guys sat at a bar.
Yeah, he doesn't react at all.
Yeah. Um. And then yeah, he's ruined his chances, and then he
Yeah,
go
so that was on Thanksgiving, I think.
oh the night
Because
before
then,
Thanksgiving or something like
yeah,
that.
because the next day
Yeah.
is Black Friday, the busiest time of the year for the mall.
Yes. Yeah. So I love that this is a Black Friday movie.
Oh yeah,
So now every American
yeah. It's not.
holiday,
It's not a Thanksgiving movie.
yeah, every uh what'd you call it? Every holiday now has a movie for it at least.
Yeah, every like Hallmark movie churned out. We got one for
Yes.
Black Friday. It's
Yeah.
Paul Blart Mall Cop.
um and then yeah, what happens next after that? He
Next, he's back. Yeah, that's right. He goes back. He's back at home eating dinner with
oh
his mom and daughter.
yes.
Uh, and then no, the dating app, the dating online was earlier in the movie, I think, or was it? Might have been around that point.
Yeah, so
But then the next day, it goes back into work. It's Black Friday. Uh, Earlier in the movie, there had been this new hire security guard
mm,
who Paul had been training, who had been shadowing him on the job. Uh, like, he said that he had failed high school and this was the only
yeah.
job that would take him.
Yeah.
Uh, and so he had been following him around. Then the next day, it's Black Friday. Mall's busy.
Mm.
Everyone's there. These guys stroll into the mall, dresses like maintenance workers, pull out guns, take care like move everyone out of the mall except for the people in the bank who they were taking hostage.
Yeah.
And it turns out that the guy that Paul Blart had been teaching was their leader this whole
Mm.
time.
I like that.
He's a good villain. I don't remember
Yes.
the actor's name
Yeah,
or the
Kia
character's
O'Donnell.
name.
Kia O'Donnell or something.
He did a good job.
Yeah. Yeah, he was
Then
like yeah,
Paul,
surprisingly sort of threatening for like yeah, kids movie villain.
compelling, yeah.
Yeah, and for like
Yeah,
you know, that
an
it wasn't like
almost overdone trope.
yeah, and yeah, he was like yeah, surprisingly good.
Hmm.
Which
And
was
so Paul is out patrolling the mall. The guy who owns the arcade asks him to close it down. Paul
yeah.
gets in, starts playing the game, starts playing Rock Band,
Yeah.
is entirely engrossed, and doesn't notice what's going on in the mall around him.
Yeah.
And so one of the hostages is the love interest,
Yes.
along with the pen salesman guy.
Yes.
The, I don't know, not rival, but just bully of the movie.
Yeah.
And so Paul comes out and notices that everyone's been taken hostage. The motivation for the villains is stealing the credit card info from all of the stores, which I
Yeah.
guess can make sense.
Yeah. The villain's like plan didn't really make any sense at
Mhm.
all.
No,
Like
but it doesn't matter.
like they have someone speak over the like the what do you call it, the loudspeaker thing or whatever,
PA
the
system.
PA system, like the mall is now closing, everyone leave, and it's like okay,
Mhm.
but then they
Yeah.
have people just come pull out guns. It's like
Yeah.
is their plan to do this secretly or to do this like
Hmm. Right. They could have just kept it totally quiet.
yeah, there was no need to turn it into a hostage situation.
No. Or there was, but there wasn't any reason
Yeah.
to like let everyone out screaming and
Yeah,
intimidating.
yeah, exactly. So they would have had
My
more
main
time.
takeaway from my main takeaway from the movie, we need more villains on skateboards and BMX bikes in malls. That was one of the best parts of the movie.
Was this like
It was so
just
intimidating.
when like parkour like became a thing that like
Yeah, exactly.
everyone talked
Parkour
to?
also. Yeah, so late 2000s. I think we need to bring that back.
Like,
Hollywood, if you're listening,
mm,
let's do it again.
it was just the crew of villains was so weird because
It was so weird.
they're all like these Gen X like
Yeah,
uh, like tattooed hippie people. Basically, is what they
yeah,
all looked like. Like they didn't look like hardened, criminals.
yeah. I
They
don't
all
think
looked
any of
like,
them get
yeah.
names.
I think one of them does, but I don't remember what it is.
Yeah, and if they do, you don't remember them.
Yeah,
They're just skateboarding and biking around the mall, jumping over stuff, all while carrying guns,
yeah,
which I think is a fantastic combination.
yeah, yeah. It
That
looks
rocked.
kind of. It was cool, but it just looks so ridiculous. Them on the BMX
Oh yeah,
bikes and the
oh yeah, so dumb.
just like parkouring around the store. And
Yeah.
surely there's a better way to get all this information than running from store to
But
store.
is there? Not that I can think of. I think it's the most efficient mode of transportation throughout the mall. I think that was some fine villain planning right there.
Yeah, and there was actually some decent, like, genuinely good action sequences, like the bit where
Yeah.
he's in the elevator and then they jump in through like the glass of
Mhm.
the elevator to like start fighting
The
him.
different floors,
It was cool.
and then through the roof. That
Yeah.
was so cool into the ball pit.
Yes, that was cool. And then he like just rises up on his Segway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just
And so
slowly, yeah.
Paul has to go around the mall, beating up each one individually because he's no fighting man. He's not in
Mm,
good shape. He has to outwit them.
mm,
And eventually, his daughter comes into the mall. She didn't know. Maybe the police weren't outside at that point, but I don't think that's likely. But anyway, she comes into the mall without knowing what's going on
yeah, that didn't make any
to bring
sense.
Paul his lunch.
That didn't make any sense at
And then
all.
she becomes a hostage also.
I, I, I don't mind her as a character, but that kind of annoyed me.
No.
It was like, how did number one, how did she get in? It's like, why? What's the point of raising the stakes even more? Then they've already got his love interest, so I don't know. It was
Yeah.
kind of a bit. It seemed like, oh, we just need to just slightly raise the stakes a bit more, or like have something else
Uh-huh.
happen, or wouldn't it be funny if the daughter was here to have these lines of dialogue or something?
Right.
And so they just basically just bring her into the narrative, like, for no
Because we didn't
discernible.
see her outside of the home by that point.
Now, do you know who Jimmy Simpson is?
I can't say that I do.
Okay, he is the one of the McPoyles in It's Always Sunny.
I haven't seen it.
Ah, he looks anyway. He looks similar to the Vec, whatever his name is. And I was just thinking, if they
Yeah.
had gotten him, because he's a really good actor. Anyway, if you haven't seen It's Always Sunny,
Mhm.
you
recommend
don't
it?
you don't know what I'm talking about. That's okay.
Nope.
That's okay. um. Now.
And so they eventually find out because they don't know it's Paul. The villain Beck
Yes.
doesn't know it's Paul. They take love interest, his daughter, hostage. And what does happen? They confront each other, Vec
Yeah.
and Paul. Vec takes Paul's daughter, the love interest. I'm sure she has a name. I don't remember it.
Amy.
He takes them. Amy. She writes it down. How could I forget that?
Yes.
It's the receipt. That's a major plot point in the movie.
Yes.
He kidnaps them to go to an airfield where there was a plane already there.
Yes.
We're not gonna go real in depth into the continuity of that,
Yeah.
but the SWAT guy, the super alpha male
Yes.
who had bullied Paul earlier in school,
Yeah.
shows up, takes charge of the situation, and so Paul and him take a minivan that had been on display in the mall, drive it,
Yeah.
chase after Vec and the hostages. They make it to the airfield. Vec's about to get on the plane. Paul destroys the phone that had all of the credit card data that Vec wanted.
Yeah.
And then the big reveal of the movie.
Yes.
The SWAT guy was evil. He was the real mastermind of the whole
Yes.
plan.
And I really liked that.
You
I
just-
thought that was really good.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
I legitimately did not see that coming.
You didn't.
No.
Yeah.
Because I just assumed.
He was just there to antagonize Paul.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I quite liked that. And then we had like the classic, like there's a gunshot, but it's not like the person that the camera's on
Yeah,
that does the shooting or whatever.
yeah, that rocks.
Um,
And it's the old like
yes,
supervisor that Paul
yes,
had
yeah.
at the mall
Um,
who shot the gun out of the SWAT guy's hands.
yeah. Oh, one little thing I wanted to mention was
Yeah.
all the criminals. I just remembered they're all given code names of the reindeer.
Were
Yeah, so
they?
there's Rudolph, Prancer, and
Mm-hmm.
if you noticed, that's how I worked that out. And that's what I find that like this movie, it's like they just sat in a writer's room and they were like, oh, what's a like a funny idea? What's a cool idea we can put into the movie? And then it's
Yeah.
not fleshed out or nothing is done with it or like made it to like like it's all like weirdly subtle. It's just like, oh, make sure my
Yeah.
idea is in the script.
It's a
Like,
collection of little
yeah,
bits.
like the idea that they write the codes in invisible ink on their arms.
Yeah.
It's
And then
like what's the
you
point
just
of
have
that?
Paul just happens to see one of their arms under a UV light in a store.
Yeah, and it seems it's like there's lots of little things like that where it's you can tell it must have been written by like five guys sat in a room like, oh,
Yeah.
what's a cool idea, what's a funny idea, and but it still
hmm
works, like so long as the
It's a coherent
movie,
movie. Yeah.
yeah, it's coherent, it's got good structure. It's only 90 minutes as well, so it's hard to mess up
Yeah.
really. So
And there
um,
are many parts I genuinely laughed at.
yeah,
Man, it's a good movie.
yeah. What else? If I got anything else here written here in my notes,
Mhm.
nothing really. But
How
yeah, I
much
liked it.
can one man talk about the Blart?
Yeah, it is just like a nice family movie basically.
Yeah,
Um, Kevin James is really good in it. He's
he's a
great.
sympathetic character.
Yeah,
He plays it well. Like it's sympathetic without being pitying so much.
yeah, and
Like
I
you can
think
feel sorry for him being unlucky in love, but he keeps his head up. He's capable.
yes,
Uh, he's just a charismatic, enjoyable character.
yeah, he takes pride in what he does, which is
hmm
nice to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, big recommendation
Oh yeah,
for
heartily.
sure.
And the
Uh,
sequel too.
well, yeah, we'll have to discuss that at some point, I'm
That's
sure.
a whole nother beast. I have a Paul Blart poster.
Really?
Oh yeah, rolled up somewhere.
My, I just I don't know. Was that just like a big thing, like a big meme thing? I think I must have missed
I
that.
guess so. No, no, it was just like with me specifically. Man, good times. What a movie.
What a movie. Um, yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about Paul Blart?
Not that I can think of.
Oh, it's all good. We've done
Yeah,
over an hour, so we managed.
right on.
We've done well here today, I think.
Those
Yeah,
were good movies. I enjoyed watching them both.
yeah, yeah. It was a good combo as well. Like you get
hmm
the grimy bad lieutenant, and then you get a bit of nice little sort of levity.
Super lighthearted,
Yeah,
fun.
you can just throw it on. You don't have to
hmm
think about it too much or anything. So yeah.
Hood. What a character.
Oh, and I
What a
loved it
guy.
at the end of Paul Blart when it's like after in the epilogue sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
The daughter says to him, like in reference to Amy, the love interest, like, "Oh, and she's not gonna need a green card." Like I love,
You need to see the image of Paul Blart and his former wife
yeah,
on this donkey. It is.
yeah. I
a-
was so confused, like at the beginning. I assumed like because
yeah,
normally Normally with a movie like this, it's like, oh, the wife
Hmm.
died in childbirth, or the wife
Yeah,
died.
yeah,
It's like,
something
but
like
she's a deadbeat mom that like
she
abandoned
took
her.
advantage of him, and then when
You know,
he left,
yeah, and I
yeah,
think
there's like this one picture of her, and then she's never mentioned again.
yeah, and I think that's a little touch of it being like a Happy Madison production for sure. Like Adam
Hmm.
Sand, Adam Sandler's crew.
Oh yeah, oh
Yeah,
yeah, they do a lot of movies together, Kevin James and Adam.
yeah, yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
Uncut Gems 2, Paul Blart 3 crossover.
Ooh, ooh.
Un Uncut Blart. Oh boy.
Yeah. Well, I think we've covered everything we need to cover.
I think so.
I think so. Oh, well, thank you
Well,
very
thank you
much.
very much for having me on.
It was good fun.
I had a great time.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Yeah. I'll have
Like,
to.
there are movies that I can watch a whole bunch of times over, like Casino, Blade Runner
Mm,
2049. But Paul Blart, that is
mm,
a movie and a half right there. That is
mm.
plain fun.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Um, I definitely enjoyed Paul Blart. I definitely enjoyed Paul Blart.
Yeah, you saw it for the first
Yeah,
time.
and I love as we forgot to mention the tattoos he gets.
The tattoos. There's a little reveal after the drinking scene.
Yeah.
It's a Loch Ness monster tramp stamp style that shows when he bends over. His daughter is aghast, asks what it is. Then, very end of the movie, bad guys vanquished. Uh, Paul is sprawled out on the ground. His shirt's up over his back. Everyone gasps. It's like a full. What even was it? Was it tiger,
It was an
dragon, eagle,
eagle. Yeah,
something?
yeah, yeah. It was like a big Yakuza tattoo type thing.
And he restates that he really does not drink. Like, that was a good callback. I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
That was a
exactly. Yeah, I
fine
like
piece of
that.
movie
Yeah.
making.
Um. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we'll leave it at that. Thank you everyone for
My
tuning in.
closing my closing sentiment, Paul Blart 3. Let's get it going. I want to
Mm,
see it.
Mr.
Everyone wants to
Yeah,
see it.
Mr. James, get
It's
onto
not
it.
too late.
Yeah.
Let's let's go. You need me to consult? I'm here. I'm around.
Yeah,
Find
exactly.
me on Twitter
Get the
at
Bloodheads.
Primate Acolyte.
Yeah, follow
Jaynico,
Jay. I should say
one and
that.
only.
Although I assume everyone
Uh,
that would listen to this probably already follows you.
most likely. The voice docs. Okay, like I haven't
Mmm.
done that before. The sultry tones of
Mmm.
Jaynico. One and
Very
only.
nice. Very nice. All right. Well, catch you guys next time. All right. Stream is over. Thank you